sports listeners. I'm your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
This whole hour of Santa Barbara teen athletes. Woo! And we're talking all athletes.
It's another fabulous day here in Santa Barbara. We've got a nice break from the weather. And again, our love and respect goes out to all of the first responders. I did a big hugs and kisses to Lash Construction last week. I also want to add Action Roofing this week. I always like to just pick out a name. I don't have any tie to the company or whatever, except for just the feedback that I've been getting from the community as far as their emergency response to help people. So Jacket Action, thank you. The community loves you. You've been around for 30 plus years. I think you put the roof on my house in 87. So there you go. We've got a great lineup and a lot of unexpected sports info results here, upsets, and I love upsets. Upsets I love because I like the underdog, don't I? Yeah, go Jacksonville. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Right? There you go. And this is so funny. Just like watching, just kind of remind me of, the GOAT Brady coming back from, halftime with the last Super Bowl that they were in, 2 Super Bowls again, I guess, against Atlanta. So I thought that was really kind of cool. All right, there you go. So let's get to sports. All right, in the house, Santa Barbara High School, Dawn, senior, Romy Davies, talk to me.
Thank you, Erica, and hello, everyone. This is Romy Davies, Santa Barbara High School senior, reporting back from Santa Barbara, California with this week's SB Dalton Sports Recap. In soccer news, junior Jesus Miranda scored the game-winning goal with 5 minutes left as the Santa Barbara High boys soccer team earned its first Channel League victory on Saturday, beating Ventura 3-2. Miranda scored 2 goals for the Dons. His first came early in the game off a pass from Carver Jensen. Playing its third game of the 1 week, Dons coach Ricardo Alcaraz made many changes in the lineup. Junior Eli Myers controlled the midfield with his quick touches and vision. When asked about the game, Alcaraz said Eli was very technical tonight. He was our best passer on the team and kept possession and broke lines with accurate passing. In water polo news, the girls unfortunately lost to Dos Pueblos in a 10-4 Channel League victory at Santa Barbara High on Friday afternoon. While he was missing a key player sidelined with an injury, Santa Barbara coach Mark Walsh said the game plan was to make sure Emma Gilbert, a Harvard commit from DP, was well covered. Now, Santa Barbara is 5-2 in the Channel League and Dos Pueblos is 5-0. In basketball news, the much-improved girls faced DP, who needed some clutch plays down the stretch to escape with 45-40 Channel League win on Thursday night at the J.R. Richards Gym. Santa Barbara kept the match close, with the girls trailing behind by only 3, with 3 minutes and 24 left after back-to-back baskets by Jazz Gordon and Chloe Adams. Butcher is pleased how the Dons are coming together as a team, and said of the game, "We're playing really good basketball and you can't ask for more. We have only 3 points back from last year's team total." That's it for this week's SB Dons recap, and see you next time.
Thank you, Romy. And tell me she doesn't have a career in broadcasting. Just tell me. Anybody here?
I could tell you, but I would be lying.
Yeah, I know. She's got a different kind of voice. You know what voice she reminds me of? You know, when we watch, what was it, 1820? What was it? Was it
83.
1883. Thank you. 1883. The narrator there?
Yes.
Right? Yes. Doesn't she have that voice? She has that vibe. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So she could be a narrator, warm, whatever. She just has that. She takes you along for the ride. I would like her to do the horse and buggy in New York and have her just talk to me about New York City.
There you go.
She's got that voice, right?
Yep.
All right. Next up, here we go. DP High School Charger, Valeria. Guess what? Your uncle's in the house. He can't wait to hear what you got to say. Talk to me.
Thanks, Erica. And hey, everyone. I'm Valeria Tiburcio Romo, back with this week's Charger recap. Starting off with girls basketball, they played against Ventura on Saturday. The final score was 61-42. Unfortunately, the Chargers did not win. Then boys wrestling had an amazing tournament with Samuel Ramos placing second, Silas Penniman placing third, and Cody Pierce placing fifth, all in their respective weight classes. Then boys basketball had a game against Cressepi High. Unfortunately, we lost the game with the final score of 76-49. Then girls basketball played against Rio Mesa. The girls took the win with the final score of 57-50. Then, boys wrestling had a match against Oxnard High School. The final score was 54-14, the Chargers taking the win. Then going back to boys basketball, they played against Rio Mesa. Unfortunately, the Chargers did not win the game with the final score of 61-74. This week, girls water polo played against Ventura High School, and they took the win. The final score was 17-3. Then again, going back to boys basketball, they played against our crosstown rival Santa Barbara. The game was pretty much tied all throughout the first half, but unfortunately in the second half, our boys weren't able to pull through, and the final score was 64-51, the Dons taking the win. And that is it for this week's Charger Recap. I'm Valeria Tiburcio Romo, and I'll see y'all next week.
Oh, wonderful. I'm not you. Chargers are killing it. They're doing great. 2023, I think it's going to be a Charger year. All right, now we got Sean Walters, Bishop Diego High School Cardinals. Sean, what's going on?
Thank you so much, Erica. This is Bishop Diego High School senior Sean Walters signing on once again to give you the Bishop Diego High School sports recap. On Tuesday, our very own girls soccer team beat Thatcher 3-2 in a night game at Santa Barbara City College. Stud senior Sienna Urzua scored 2 goals and star sophomore Kai Lily Penn scored 1. They then went on to defeat our rivals St. Bonaventure in a 5-0 league win game on Friday. Per usual, Kai Lily Penn absolutely balled out as she added 4 goals and Sienna Urzua added 1. Great job, girls. The girls weren't the only ones who found success though, as the boys soccer team also defeated St. Bonaventure 2-1 in a close league game shootout. Thomas Gaggs and Roman Geiler each scored 1 goal in the game. Great job, guys. In our basketball news, unfortunately, our varsity boys basketball team fell short 80-60 versus San Ynez on Wednesday. They then went on to redeem themselves later in the week, though, as they went on the road and came back with a 67-64 league win over Thatcher. In the tight victory, Eddie Perez led the team with 18 points, and Damian Krotman added 12. Great job, guys. The girls varsity basketball team also claimed a 42-24 league win on Friday against Santa Clara. Star junior Galilea de la Cruz led the team with 15 points, and stud freshman Jamie Coronado added another 10. Amazing job, girls. Well, everyone, that's all I've got for your Bishop Sports Recap. Please don't forget to tune in once again next week. This is Sean Walters signing off.
Thank you, Sean. You love him. He's another one. They're all good. All right, San Marcos High School Royal Duet. Ambrose Partee, Sammy Schaefer. What's going on?
Thanks, Erica. It's Sammy and Ambrose here with your weekly sports update.
Starting off with girls basketball, Michelle Ariana scored 15 points to lead San Marcos to a 58-13 Channel League win over Rio Mesa last Saturday.
Ellie Munson and Carly Nielsen contributed 8 points each.
And last Tuesday night, our girls played their best game of the season and defeated Oxnard 61-57 to move into tie for first place with the Yellow Jackets and Pacifica.
Coach Sims said, "Our best game of the season. The offense was moving and scoring, defense was solid and working together. Everyone played with their heart and hustle."
Michelle Arianes led the Royals with 20 points, Mia Martinez scored 15 points, and Maria Shakova added 12 points. Great work, girls.
Moving on to soccer, last Saturday, our boys beat Oxnard 2-0 on a rainy day in the Workington Stadium.
Our Royals are now 8-0 in league.
In the second half of the game, Justin Hess and Luke Sheffy outleaped the Oxnard goalkeeper, and junior Javi Elias got to the falling ball first and put it away.
The rain made it difficult for both teams to play balls on the ground, but the Royals, however, managed to make something happen on the ground to score a second goal in the last 5 minutes of the game.
And last Tuesday, our boys beat Rio Mesa 7-1.
Tolly Knowles served up 3 assists in the first 15 minutes of the game.
Knowles found Luke Sheffy on 2 separate runs and connected with Jose Ramirez. Leonel Olivo scored a 25-yard shot to the upper right corner, and Favi Rosales scored a goal from outside the 18-yard box as well.
Coach Paul McLean credits Tolly's assist as outstanding. He says Tolly played 2 balls more than 40 yards to Sheffy in stride as he burst through the back line and added 1 more to Jose. Tolly's passing is simply next level. He was the key to our fast start. Congrats, Tolly.
After the half, Rosales scored again, and junior Kevin Sanchez beat the goalkeeper with a beautiful shot from the left side to the bottom left corner.
Our Royals are now 9-0 in league.
That's all we have for you this week.
Back to you, Erica.
Thank you. They're another little trousseau. They're magical.
Yes.
They're really good. You think there's something going on there? I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Friends.
Just friends. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, darn. I just wanted some gossip. I'm just saying. Sports Radio, the Love Connection. We'll start a new thing.
There you go.
Speaking of Love Connection, before we go to break, Emily Yurchison was going to be with us today, but she had a conflict, so she's going to show up next week, and she's going to start we're going to introduce a new section. Okay. And also Ed Langlow's going to be back in the next couple of weeks as well. But we named her section Emily's Love Letters. And she's part of this project, and she's going to tell us all about it. Maybe we're going to want to all participate. And it's an old school way of connecting to our kids. And I think it's genius. It's wonderful. It's kind of neat. Hey, go to mailbox, get what? What do we get the mail? Like twice a month? You know what I mean? So if you know you have something coming, we run to the mailbox like
fashioned snail mail.
Yes. All fashion snail mail, where you're going to be connecting with kids and listen to
a pen pal.
Exactly. Yes. It's a pen pal, and you get to see the plight where these boys and girls are going through, and then you get to pick which one you think that you can
offer words of wisdom.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool. So she's going to start that next week, and she's already letter writing with somebody right now, and it's nice because you can share it. And of course, we're not going to divulge names, but I think that's a good way for all of us to connect to somebody as well. So that's what's going on. But next up, Huga, stay with us. And this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Hello, this is Dominique Hackett with Santa Barbara Wellness Center, and I'm going to bring you a Hackett's Hygge moment. So hygge is this wonderful, I'm going to call it cultural word that is expressing our combined human desire to have comfy, cozy friends, family, all the things in our life that really help us enjoy our life and also rejuvenate that adaptive energy that we need in order to deal with the stresses of life. So when we lower the lighting to more like candlelight and firelight, and we have a warm cup of tea and a warm blanket and a good book, that gives you that sensation of a hygge moment and spending time with good friends and family and so forth. So this quality of hygge has to do with wellness and authenticity and sharing soulful moments. And in sharing soulful moments, I love to do storytelling. And I look for stories that come from various cultures all around the world because it shares a real beautiful heart quality. And it also, in storytelling, it kind of puts us all into more like a childlike state. So I don't know if there are very many teens that might have heard a story called The Man Who Found the Gem. And it's an old tale. I suspect that it actually came probably out of India, but it's an old story about a wanderer, at this time it was a young man, and he had heard a story that there was this gem of great priceless value that would, when you find this gem, it would give you wisdom, it would give you peace. And the legend was that once you found this gem, then you had to go out and share it, because that was part of being able to keep it, was that you had to share it with all peoples. So as a young man, he dug in this mine, and he dug for a really, really long time, not knowing whether he would ever find the gem. And after a long time, when he was exhausted and on a gloomy day, all of a sudden he finally found the gem. And on the way, he found lots of smaller gems, but he set them all aside because he was looking for this great gem. So now he's found it, and he has to go wander and share it because that's what the legend is. So he wandered in his land. And in his land, when he talked to the people to share this gem of wisdom, the people said to him, a lot of Hindus follow a calendar where right now the age we're in is called Kali Yuga, and it's considered a dark age. And so the people at that time, they said to him, well, we're in the age of Kali Yuga. Come back to us when, we're in the golden age. Then, it'll be the right time for us to have the gem. And so he had to wander to other lands, and he told stories of, his struggles to find this gem. And the various people that he met, they all had different reasons about why it either wasn't the right time for them to have the gem, or maybe the gem wasn't real. They'd heard a story about someone else had the gem, or he was, at that point, he was older in life and he was in older clothes and kind of, raggedy and so forth. And if he was better dressed, maybe they would receive it. Or how about, could you polish the gem and maybe cut it in certain ways? I mean, everybody had all these reasons about why they couldn't accept the gem. So he was very sad, and he wandered back to the land of the wise, and he met a wise man there. And the wise man said, oh, you need to realize that every person you've talked to, you have left one of the smaller gems with them. And that in your sharing of your love of humanity and your love of sharing wisdom, that you have left a gem of wisdom with every person that you've ever talked to. And then the wise man said, look at the stone. And when the wanderer pulled the stone out from his bag, the stone was now polished, and it shone beautifully, like it was cut by the most, best diamond cutter. It was just amazing. And at this point, the wanderer was a wanderer no more. And he realized that he had realized his purpose in life, and he had great peace. So this is a bit of a strange kind of a telling, because now you have to wonder, what is the gem? I mean, was it really a stone? Can you imagine going around with a precious stone and somebody not wanting to accept a precious stone? But if you think of this beautiful gem as being the wise things that we all want to know in life, we all want to know how to be happy. How do I succeed in my education? How do I become a successful athlete? How do I do all the things that I want to do in life? And that wanting to know that depth of the wisdom, what makes me most successful, that is the precious gem that we are all seeking and digging for every single day. And then the idea that, but you don't get to keep your wisdom unless you share it. That's a very interesting concept. And I'm hoping that teens realize when you're going through your school experience, like say you read a really great book, and then the teacher demands an assignment that you have to write a book report. That sharing of your understanding of the book now really ingrains the experience that you had with that story into your beingness. It becomes assimilated into your knowingness of the wisdom that you garnered from that book. So there's something really precious about sharing the wisdom in our life that we gain, and that we actually get more from sharing wisdom together. So that is my beautiful Hygge story. It's that we are all people trying to find that precious gem. And as you find the gems, share them.
I don't have any expectations.
And no expectations.
That's the hook right there, guys. No expectations. Just get off on telling what you know, and don't, if it's not well received or received at all, or maybe look at it that you planted the seed. Because I will say, especially, I would say this last few, I think maybe since I hit 60, I've reflected a lot on things that were told to me or whispered or heard of, which I didn't want to attach myself to, that because the timing was wrong and it wasn't a ooh-ha moment for me at the time. But yeah, it definitely manifested itself. And I'm like, well, why didn't I see? Why didn't I believe? Why didn't I listen? I don't know. Dr. Amy.
Well, I was just thinking, isn't that what we do at Teen Sports Radio? We share our wisdom with no expectations, with the hopes that it will support someone now or in the future.
True.
Absolutely.
Dr. Jean.
Yeah, actually, I was just thinking about a gathering that we had last week at SB Cast. A woman named Candace called us all together to do some storytelling. And just sitting, we had a little fire and just sitting there listening to each of the stories and how we kind of placed ourselves as if we were in the story with them, right? Like one woman was talking about being in a canoe and paddling and feeling her paddle hit what she thought might be alligators in the water, and how we could just feel that somatically in our own bodies of like the fear and all of those things, and how it, it really does turn on our own neural networks, right? And that's where, where we're held in each other's, we understand each other through our stories in that same way. So that's a beautiful hula to kind of match my own experience last week.
Yeah, Anthony, we got a minute.
That's actually, the story was actually really, really cool. I never would have thought of it that way. But it's true. Sometimes we expect too much from people when we try to give, and then we only disappoint ourselves. So it's better that, if we can give some wisdom to somebody else without expecting anything, then, nobody can hurt you. You got this. And so I think it's really important for people to realize that, there's a lot of things out there that, people might be good to you. Some people might be bad to you, but as long as you're good with yourself, then that's all that matters. And it took me a very long time to do that.
Anthony, because you said this to me multiple times over the last 5 years. And when you say to me, I got you back and you got this, there's something about the power of when you say it. Because, a lot of people can say, oh, you got this. Oh, yeah, I got this. But when you say you got this. So in what you do in helping our kids, especially in suicide prevention, and you're available 24/7, you have to really hold truth to kind of like this story is like an Anthony Rodriguez story, because you're totally putting your heart on the table.
Yeah.
So talk about that. Well, actually, you can say a few words before we go.
No, I just really want people that are listening to the show to realize, just open themselves up to be able to accept something that's being given without even thinking about it. Because I think we close ourselves off a lot, and we don't allow ourselves to receive sometimes, and that definitely could affect us. So I think it's really important for us to give ourselves an opportunity to allow somebody to give something back and just take it in and appreciate it.
Nice. Beautiful. All right. Well, I want to get to Stephanie Forrester, but she has her own segment. So we're going to keep it here for Stephanie Forrester right after these messages.
Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me. Oh, 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 oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me. Hey, hey. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again. So they say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me. Oh, oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me. Hey, hey. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Welcome back. I'm Stephanie Forrester, our community activist. My son's first year of passing is coming up. He passed from a fentanyl overdose, which hundreds of people in our community are still overdosing. I'm involved with Project Opiate with Sheriff Brown and other leaders in our community. We all need to play a role to end this battle. I think we need more speakers. We need speakers to talk to our school and our educational programs. We need speakers for reformed inmates that they can talk about their story about addiction. They need mothers like me that have lost their only child and reach out to our schools. This morning, I called Santa Barbara High School, and I was told that they've not had anybody come out and speak to the students. And wow, as I know for a fact, one team was buying fentanyl right outside the MAD Academy. I've done a lot of research this weekend. We have a shortage of Adderall. The medication is used for ADD. Public Health in other states has issued an alert. Fake Adderall pills. John Doyle from Santa Barbara Behavioral Wellness is also sending out the message. And I quote from Randy Rouse, our mayor, we need to go straight to the problem. Keep the politics and the governors out of it. Speaking with Bill Brown, I'm going to quote, we still do not have the final count for overdoses for 2022. I was shocked to hear him say they're seeing Narcan being misused. One person gets high and the other one gives him the Narcan. Then they do the reverse role for each other. This is a role and people need to be accountable. Today, I got the privilege of speaking with Coroner Chad Behringer to see what information he could be. And I want to tell you to knock on wood, but there has been a small decrease in overall overdoses in Santa Barbara, but a small, and knock on wood, because they do not have the complete stats yet back. He's not seeing the Adderall epidemic happening here, but it's really good to get that out there. And he also confirmed the Narcan game that they're playing, which is very concerning. Next week, I'll have some more information about getting some more movement into our community. And I think that most people are most likely to not look at the stats versus having the experience of losing somebody. So next week, I'm going to have some updates, and I pray that I can get some movement to help our community. And like a reminder, I need to say this could happen to anyone. No amount of warning is time enough to say to God goodbye to somebody you love. So,
how many? We talked about this last week. What was the dosage that your son was prescribed after he shattered his ankle?
180 sent home with COVID.
With Vicodin, right?
Oh, I'm so sorry with COVID. I'm so sorry he was sent home with Vicodin. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
it's funny because I look at this panel and I'm like, we've got it right here. We can set up a little task force, Teen Sports Radio. We've got the mother, we've got the MD, and we've got Anthony Rodriguez. And we call up Santa Barbara.
Dr. Jean.
Of course, Dr. Jean. And we have plenty of, we got a nice jail here. Okay. And I'm sure somebody is going to be is going to be able, we put a little ankle on them, a little for parole, like a dealer, to get off on good behavior, just because that's really all it takes. And then we can go into the chemistry lab and get some stuff that was just seized from the local police and test it. I mean, we just have to show the kids.
This is what's going on.
4 out of 10 of these pills could kill you. And half of you, everybody here is going to try something. We know that already. That statistics have proved that.
It's up to 6 out of 10 now.
6 out of 10. Okay. I just say 50-50. I mean, if anybody here in high school tried a pill, be honest. Okay. I did. Dominique, you would think this one over here would never have done it. I did it once, so we've all, but that could have been the one, right?
I know.
Dr. Amy.
Well, first of all, Stephanie, I just want to say thank you for using your pain to protect others from pain. I know it's not easy. And second of all, I wanted to clarify a couple things that you said. So are you saying that because of the Adderall shortage, there's fake Adderall going around that's laced with fentanyl? That's what you're saying?
Absolutely. In Columbus, Ohio, there are colleges, they've lost 18 kids to Adderall laced with fentanyl. People take Adderall when it's a speed, and they also take it to concentrate if they've got to study for a final. I think because, I've talked to some pharmacists, they're seeing people that they've never seen before come and get prescriptions for Adderall. When they normally know the normal people that come and get their Adderall, they're just as responsible as a doctor to report that.
Right. So just one of the things for teens is it can be super tempting when you're behind on your homework, when you have a big project, whatever, to think, oh, I'm going to take some Adderall. I'm going to buy some Adderall on the street. I'm going to get one from a friend. And you just need to consider the risk of where those Adderalls are sourced from and that they could be deadly. And then, Stephanie, I wanted to clarify one other thing, which was this thing where you're saying that the kids are taking opioids intentionally and then using Narcan to resuscitate each other almost like as a game,
exactly. And they're taking the fentanyl, and one says, okay, I've got my fentanyl. If you overdose, and I've heard this from our Bill Brown, and I also heard it from the coroner's office today. I spoke with the coroner's office, and normally it's information they don't really like to give out, but I'm just telling you, they've reversed a lot of the stuff that the Narcan is for. Okay, you do it. If you overdose, I've got my Narcan, and then next time we go out, you carry the Narcan, and if I overdose, you give it to me.
Right. So what you're saying is that the Narcan, kids are using Narcan as a false sense of safety, and that this is a high risk game. So I just am trying to emphasize the points that you want to make to the kids. And the 2 points are any Adderall that isn't prescribed by you and dispensed from a pharmacy has a risk of being laced with fentanyl. And if you're doing fentanyl and then expecting your buddy to give you Narcan, both of those actions can be lethal.
Yes. Exactly. And it's not so much that these kids think they're buying street drugs. They think they're really buying the Adderall, so.
Hey, we got a lot to show. All right, let's keep it here. We'll be right back.
Well, now together we will stand, every boy, girl, woman, and a man. Together we'll stand, divided we'll fall. Come on now, people, let's get on the ball and work together. Come on, let's work together. Now, people, because together we will stand, every boy, every girl, and a man.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
Every single Tuesday.
9 a.m.
Hi, this is Dr. Jean with drjeantherapy.com, and we are here with Stephanie Forrester, and we're talking about the effects of fentanyl on our community. And, one of the things I've been thinking about is how, fentanyl and Adderall and just using substances in general, right? That they're so freely used when something feels difficult or hard. And I really want to stress that if you're finding that your anxiety or that you're struggling with depression or having a hard time keeping up, that there are so many professionals available to you. If your family has insurance or has Medi-Cal, there are therapists available. You can do telehealth. You can see counselors at school. There's just so many ways to access. I just really want to support people to go to professionals to deal with the anxiety of not being able to work, in school, being able to get your work done in school or any of those pressures. So that's just something that, if anybody has questions or wants some support, you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Amy. Any other thoughts on that?
Well, I think the whole telehealth thing, I don't think I know, just from talking to a few people. Dominique's son is one of them. The telehealth, it was just a lot easier. I mean, that's how a lot of people that I know started. It was during COVID. It was the telehealth. And I don't know, it was maybe 3 boxes instead of an actual big old interview and blood tests and everything like that. So they were getting it. And I don't think they expected this big. Reason why we have a shortage is because of the amount of prescriptions that were issued. during that time.
So more people have had access to professionals who have decided, yes, you could be helped by this. So there are wonderful things that Adderall does do for people who have severe ADHD. And so it is part of our arsenal of helping people be successful in life. But let's see. But the question that I had just real quick that I wanted to pass on, culturally, if you were in an indigenous community and you had an issue, you would go to a wise person who would then help you with your issue. You wouldn't just go to your brother or sister. You would seek out the wise counsel. And so that's what Dr. Jean and Dr. Amy are trying to explain to teens, is that by contacting a professional and working with a professional, there is such an array of things that we can do to help you, that it's not just limited to possibly the need of a prescription. But I wanted to address something. Maybe Dr. Amy, you could address this. In my family, which has focused on alternative medicine, there's been a little bit of shaming when someone does decide that they need a prescription to either help with anxiety or, an issue that talk therapy didn't help out with, and they couldn't balance it with diet or exercise, and they actually, needed to take a prescription. And so in our family, we've actually battled with not shaming someone for going and actually getting a prescription. Can you speak to this a little bit?
Yeah, I think I'll just share a personal story. So I think everyone knows that I'm a holistic physician, and if I can care for someone without medication, that's my preference. And this came up in my own family. I have a child with ADHD who has given me permission to tell their story. And I was actually quite reluctant to put them on medication. And so, I did a lot of supplements, mindfulness, of course. And it wasn't until there was a day where they forgot something at school. I took them back to school, and they were in such a state that they turned around and slammed into a hole because they were just moving so fast. And at that point, I realized this really is not working. And yes, there are potential side effects of going on to meds. However, there are also potential side effects of being off meds. And in my child's case, those side effects were low self-esteem and struggling, and then kind of a secondary anxiety and depression and frustration. And it was not healthy for them. It was more healthy for them to be on meds than off of meds. And so I just think that we always think about the side effects or the concerns of meds, and that's a legitimate concern. But we don't often think about the side effects or the consequences of not being on meds, which again, kind of in the theme, can range anywhere from severe distress or minor distress to severe distress to, suicidal thinking or suicidal action. And so I think when families and people are looking at these choices, they need to keep the risks and the benefits of both approaches in mind. And I would also say, going back to Dr. Jean's comment, that usually I don't like to see folks just take medications and not be doing something and receive some type of support to also be addressing the issues, or if you have ADHD, learning skills to manage things, etc. And Anthony has his hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up the fact that having any type of difficulties or mental health conditions, there's a stigma with it. And having to go to a doctor, to go to a psychiatrist or psychologist, there's a stigma with it. And that's one thing that I really think that we really have to focus on too, is letting people know that it's okay not to be okay. I mean, it happens, it's life. Some of us have difficulties learning things, we learn differently. And we have to realize that everybody is different. We have to really focus on telling people that There's nothing wrong with talking to somebody. It's very healthy to be talking to somebody. If anybody's struggling, well, you know what? There's a lot of people that struggle. It's not just you, and having the stigma to this, it's such a hard thing because we feel stuck, that we can't say anything. We have to stay quiet and, well, how's everybody going to look at us? Or if we have a job, if we ask for a day off, what are they going to say? Are they going to think bad? Am I going to lose my job? I mean, this is one thing that I spoke about several years ago at the California for Mental Health event. And, the Kennedys were there, which I didn't know. I'll tell you that later. But it was really important for me. And that's one thing that I spoke about was that we have to stop having a stigma on mental health.
We're going to do a little wrap up right after these messages. Anthony, thank you so, so much.
Brazil. Back in the USSR. Way down in LA. Every day, dancing in the street. Crossing China too. Me and you, dancing in the street.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Hello, this is Dr. Amy Saltzman from Spot a Spider and Still Quiet Place. And I just wanted to add one thing to what Anthony said, which is I hope that at some point we get to the point where people with mental health are treated the same way we treat people with vision difficulties or diabetes or heart disease, that, this is something that you deal with and seek support for, and there's no judgment or no stigma about it. And Stephanie, I know you had something you wanted to add.
This is Stephanie, our community activist. I also want to say that, yes, counseling is great, but somebody that's addicted to this fentanyl, there's no time. There's no time to map out seeing somebody. What we need is a medical detox center. We need to have recovery houses, resources to achieve the sobriety before they can reach out to somebody, because there's no time. It's a deadly thing. You can't map it out. We need detox centers. We need that immediately.
Dr. Jean.
I was just thinking about your question about when there's not a lot of family support for mental health, that usually there may be one other person, might be extended family or somebody that you recognize that also struggles with mental health. And so sometimes it might be that you need to reach out to others in your extended family or even in your community just to ask how that experience was for them. And Stephanie, thank you for your comments there, right? That there are issues that require immediate help. And that's different than sort of getting that long-term engagement with a therapist or a professional, right? So having a balance of both in our community, I think, is really important.
Great. Stephanie, I want to close out, and I want to say we've gotten close this last year, and on the anniversary of your son, we've really had a bond, and I can't tell you how you've inspired me and taking on everything you've done. I know you're the only woman that I've known about that is standing up and talking about this, and thank you. And the one thing I want to do is shift a little bit from another perspective of Adderall. I want us to be very, very careful, because I've had a couple of conversations with kids, parents especially, because I think what you're going to find in the next 3 to 5 years, the amount of kids that are actually on it to increase their performance. Okay. And you're not going to understand this, but, I've been talking to kids. I am the queen of teen. And when the baseball was coming in at 80 miles an hour, and it looks like a beach ball, There's something I've never been on Adderall or know anything about it, but when other people, however they're getting the Adderall, whether prescribed or not prescribed, and their performance is really, really increasing, and it's becoming like the number one weight loss drug too. So we have to be very, very careful. We've got 10 seconds left, Dr. Amy.
Well, I was just going to say, if you want that same experience without the Adderall, then you can practice mindfulness. And there's an awesome book by a baseball hitter that called Finding Stillness at 95 miles an hour.
Thank you. And you're so right. And the quick fix, be careful. Read all the books about getting off of Adderall and what it does to you for the long-term effects. Great show today, guys. We love our listeners. God bless you, Santa Barbara and the world. See you next week.
I'm unstoppable. I'm a pusher with no brakes. I'm invincible. Yeah, I win every single game. Minds are powerful.